Hello everyone, thanks for coming outside with me today. Today I would like to go over gear that was some of my favorites from the 2021 hunting season. So this is gear that I either was brand new testing for 2021 or stuff that I've been continuing to use that I've really enjoyed its qualities. Now I could have lumped this into one giant long monotonous long-winded video, which I've been known to make from time to time, but instead I decided to break it into product spotlight videos and let you, the end user, enjoy these individual clips in more in-depth detail than watching a long-winded thing. Last stuff we're going to talk about is by Fourth Arrow camera arms and how it basically has allowed me to film all the hunts that I've put up on the channel this year. I think they're making the best stuff for the money, but not without some caveats. So let's talk about it a little bit. First things first, let's talk about the arm itself. This is the Final Rest triple arm. This is actually not a hollow 2, which is what I originally thought it was going to be. It's actually one piece of mill bar that is then milled through the whole Swiss cheese-like to shave down on weight. It is a 3-arm construction, and this one is really designed for saddle hunting. It's very small. When you fold it up, it's very packable. It's very lightweight, but also it's very short because it has the intention, unlike if you're in a tree stand, you need to grab the camera and bring it around you. In a saddle, you are away from the tree and you actually bring the camera in between you and the tree. So having this really short, maneuverable triple arm really aids with that. And although I didn't do any shots that needed to be over there with the system, I actually shot all my deer on my offside. I'm a right-handed archer, so I had to go across my body to shoot this way. I didn't have to utilize going underneath my bridge in the saddle, but I definitely did it for a lot of B-roll. I definitely did it to get the camera out of the way, to find a more comfy position to sit in, so on and so forth, move gear around. So it definitely was very useful for that. Continuing on talking about the arm, up here they do have this entire third piece encased in rubber, and then from the factory, from pretty much right a little bit in front of my finger here where the base of this fluid head sits, is they had shaved the rubber off then forward. I actually ended up continuing to shave it back because when I went to move my fluid head around, the adjustment screw for the tension was rolling on top of the rubber and it was loosening and it almost fell out in the tree at one time. So I cut that rubber back a little bit further. I understand why they put the rubber there. It's that way when you bring this around, right, it's instead of being metal on metal, it's that rubber on metal, and you don't get a really loud tinging sound. So that is thoughtful of them. It isn't like super, it's not like plasti dip, like it'll lift off pretty easy. But again, it's nice to put it there because it doesn't slide over itself. It will contact with itself. This is a bee-free fluid head by Manfrotto, and it's okay. It's actually cheaper to buy the fluid head with the tripod, which I'm filming on right now. I actually bought it for the fluid head, and the tripod actually ends up being a really nice little maneuverable run and gun tripod. I plan on using it for turkey season as well with this fluid head. Very small, very compact, very lightweight, and I do have a quick connect plate onto the Manfrotto plate here, so it does add to the bulk and overall weight, but the fluid head is so light, and it does pan very nicely. It moves very smoothly. I have no complaints about that there. Putting the arm out of the way, let's talk about the shoulder, which is really, of course, the meat and potatoes of the whole system here. I have the strap wrapped around itself, and while I'm loosening it up, we can talk about it. So the strap that comes with it is a ratchet strap, a 2-hook ratchet strap system, which, of course, ratchet straps are loud, ratchet straps are big, they're bulky, and they just really aren't conducive to non-preset sets. So Fourth Arrow allows you to have base plates that are already attached to the tree, and then you just bring in the shoulder, slide it into that base plate, and you can use that for your ladder stands, your hang-ons, or if you have pre-made saddle sets, so on and so forth. So you can leave those around the woods, either on public or private, just bring in the shoulder, slide it in, and you're already good to go. But since I run and gun, and I do everything pretty much exclusively on public land, and I can't leave really anything in the woods without fear of it getting stolen, I am running my own DIY system. So what I have here is my own strap, which is actually a 1-inch webbing strap. And then on here I have the steel hook in. Now this isn't ideal. This is just what I had laying around the house. I have zip tied the gate of it open, so that way I can just slide the inside loop of this boat buckle right into that, and I don't have to try to thread a ratchet strap through, and so on and so forth. So we'll ignore the shoulder for a second. Let's talk about the boat buckle. I'll put a link to this in the description below. You can see how boat buckles work if you're interested in doing something like this instead of a ratchet strap. I got this boat buckle idea from Garrett Prawl over the DIY Sportsman, who's been running Fourth Air systems for many years and a boat buckle style system also for many years. You can get it from Easternwood Outdoors. I just got mine from Amazon. This worked out really nicely. Again, this goes around the tree. This part of the boat buckle loops into here. And then boat buckles work over folded over tension, so there's no like of a ratchet strap as it gains tension. You basically hold tension around the tree, and then this cams over onto itself. It's quite silent. It's a little bit of a fickle process to kind of practice with it first to figure out how much tension you need. If the bark is soft on the tree, if it's a chip bark, or if it's a really warm day, you'll get a really soft bite into the tree. You'll get a lot of grip, and it'll actually loosen up the strap. Or as when I was hunting the other day, and it was in the 20s here in PA, and it has been in the teens and 20s, if not down to the single digits, for well over a week, 2 weeks. That tree was hard as a rock, and it had no give to it whatsoever. So you do kind of have to play around with that a little bit. It's not as user-friendly, if you will, as a ratchet strap, but you just kind of keep going until you run out of slack. So I am running the Talon system, and they have the updated Talon system here. If you have ever had the Talon system on the old styles, all 4 of these feet moved independently of each other. But now they have taken them so that the top 2 and the bottom 2 are attached to each other, which is really nice. I know people that have the 4-teeth system, and this extra support bar here is not there, and they've bent teeth in, or one tooth has come out from the other 3, and it's sitting there poking a hole through their backpack while they're walking. All sorts of terrible stuff. But since they're all 4, 2 and 2 are attached to each other, you get a nice clean look. And this allows for there to be no sharp teeth in your backpack. So that's really nice. This whole shoulder system, as you can see, it's basically a little bit larger than a softball. It does have a lot of bulk and beef to it, if you will, though, with its weight, because it's really well constructed. But outside of that, it's very packable. It's very small, and those teeth, when they do open, they bite into the tree. I mean, it's a superb amount of bite. The only issue with it is because it's a very small, not very wide across platform, if you're not careful, it will want to tilt towards the direction that you're camming or using a ratchet strap to. So you kind of do have to, while you're ratcheting or while you're camming over, push this way, so that way it keeps the tension around the tree consistent, and you get a nice even bite. I have had trees, in particular, if it's a really soft bark and you're really trying to cam that over, this whole thing will tilt off, and you only get 2 feet that are attached to the tree. So kind of doing a push on both sides there while I was camming it over. It was kind of a learning process, and if you are interested in doing something like that, hopefully you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. This fully adjustable shoulder is literally the greatest thing since sliced bread. I can just slap this onto the tree, not worry about if it's sitting at an angle, because I have to seat it into the tree as best as possible. I'm trying to seat it as vertical as possible. I can seat it as best on the tree as possible. So it can follow the bark, it can follow a crack at a tree, so on and so forth, and I can really get it rock solid. And then all I have to do is loosen up the tension knob, and now this head could basically move, this angle. I mean, you would never encounter something like that, but you could basically set this up on a horizontal log and turn this completely that direction, and then tighten it down. You could have it level. It's pretty impressive what it can do. Now, this knob is not stock. This is an idea from my buddy Derek Craig over at New Day Outdoors, who hunts more days than I work pretty much, and he did a little DIY modification where he put this much bigger knob on there. They have a tiny little knob. Basically, you can get one thumb and an index finger on, and it just doesn't work when it's cold. I know the guys up there at Fourth Arrow live and work in Michigan, and I know it's cold in Michigan. You'd think they'd want to put a bigger knob on there. I understand why they did it. It gives you really good strap clearance no matter the diameter of the tree. If you get a really big tree, you will get a little bit of strap interference, but I was on some huge trees before I got some strap interference running this larger knob. If you're interested in Derek's modification, I will put that link down in the description below to all the modifications he did to his Talon system. It doesn't take much adjustment to really get this thing to lock down and hammer home, so once I get it level, here just little bit of that's all it needs. I don't need to absolutely reef this down until this bottoms out. That's insane. This is just so it's nice when I can get 4, 5 fingers on here when it's minus 10 degrees outside. Like I stated earlier, the build quality, the construction, everything about this, I think, is spot on. Again, I'm not an engineer. I'm not that picky. I'm not that, outlandishly over the top when it comes to knowing what I'm talking about when it comes to this stuff. But I mean, this whole system right here for saddle hunting, if you're thinking about starting to film your hunts, it definitely is a steep startup price point. I've been doing YouTube a long time. Something like this is worth it. But if you are starting out and you just want to go with, I think, the best of the best for saddle hunting, this is definitely the way to go. So that's my season-long review on the 4th Arrow Talon system and the Final Rest Triple Arm. If you have any questions on the rest of this gear that I did not touch on, if you have any questions about self-filming, I will not claim to be an expert, but if you do, I'll give you my 2 cents as best I can. Please do follow the links in the description below. Hit me up on Facebook and Instagram, Average Jack Archery. Send me an email, averagejackarchery@gmail.com, or drop a comment down here on YouTube for all of us to enjoy. Hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery, archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation. Film some of it for us while you're out there. And we'll get to see you next time.